the Northwest home for paranormal, you're listening to U.S. Phenomenon with your host, Mario Magana.
From the Pacific Northwest in the shadow of the 1962 World's Fair, the Space Needle. Good evening. I am your host, Mario Magana. This is U.S. Phenomenon. Tonight, we take a dive into Skynet, Telnet, whatever you might. I feel like we're living in the day of this. I mean, we've all seen the movie. We've all seen Terminator a few times in our lives. Terminator 1, 2. I mean, are we living in the day and age now where AI is going to take over the world? Tonight, our guest and contributor to the show, Michael Parker. Welcome back to U.S. Phenomenon. Thank you so much for coming here.
Michael Parker could not be here tonight. This is his automaton human android sidekick who's going to be filling in for him tonight.
All right. Well, welcome to the show then. Actually, we were going to get AIAB to do the show for me. All scripts have been pre-produced by AI technology. Michael, what day in we're living in a life where AI technology is immersed in our day-to-day lives, not so much people using ChatGPT, OpenGPT. I know there was an article recently that came out and a video of the CEO from Open or ChatGPT who said if we don't start using this responsibly, we may have ourselves some serious issue. And I'm like, we have to do we need it's almost a part where we need to actually pause what's going on with the technology because it's advanced so far?
Well, that is certainly what they're saying. Okay, so this week when they came out with this statement, it was one sentence, which unfortunately I don't have right in front of me, but basically what they're saying is I think 50 or 60 people signed on to this one sentence statement that essentially said that we now need to look at the possibility of human extinction as a result of AI. We need to think about this seriously. And yes, they also suggested that there be like a 6-month pause. But Mario, I put it to you. I think about this like these climate accords. So let's say that we here in the U.S. and our companies here in the U.S., we say, okay, all right, we'll stop. We're going to stop right now, and we're going to agree to your agreement. And we're going to honor that. But does that mean that China's going to do that? Does that mean a rogue third world country? Does that just mean some independent researcher for a major transnational corporation is also going to agree to stop doing that? Honestly, bro, I think the cat is out of the bag.
You know, it's funny you say that. When you take a look at this, I was going to sing the song, "It's the End of the World as We Know It." You know, I mean, look, here's the thing. You were just saying this. How do you think the internet became the thing? I mean, the government was using the internet way long before we were even had the opportunity to use the internet in the early 90s. I mean, we're the last generation who knows what life is like without the internet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now we're talking about if they do pause this and we talk about the extinction of humanity. I mean, we got to globally come together as a species to understand that you don't think by any means that the United States government isn't trying to use AI to advance in wars. I mean, some of the stuff that we're going to talk about tonight about 13 things that AI is doing that most people probably have no clue what AI can do. Other than people are like, oh, yeah, cool. It can, check my emails. It can summarize stuff. But the stuff that AI can do as of right now is pretty damn scary.
I would like to hear some of those examples. I mean, listen, I have been concerned about AI and this step into potentially transhumanism and all these things for a long time. And now here we are. So all of a sudden this year, we've gone from 0 to 60 starting in January with ChatGPT. Everybody's used it by now. I've used it quite a bit. I made a music video about 2 or 3 weeks ago using AI. It looked killer. Immediately people were asking me, who did this? I'm like, I did it. And I used it with a very cheap AI that anybody can use right now. Point being is, my take on AI is a little bit different. Honestly, I'm still more concerned about human beings than I am AI. And when I say that, I am not trying to minimize my concern about the advent of AI, but I am more concerned about how people use AI and how they might exploit it, because there's AI and then there's AGI, which is artificial general intelligence. And that is a step above the AI that we're using. And some people will even argue that ChatGPT is not AI in its most pure form. It's essentially a repository of information that it can then spit back out to you like a calculator. Okay. If you ask calculator, but here's what's interesting to me, and I was just thinking about this today, and this is what's bugged me about ChatGPT. ChatGPT will say, well, I can't address certain subjects post 2021. I think that's the date. It says, I have access to information to this point, or is it 2021 or 2020? But it's like, so yeah. So after that, it can't address anything. I think that there are people in power that don't want guys like you and I and just regular people to have access to artificial intelligence, because it tilts the table so immensely that I don't think that a lot of these people in power care if you and I are under the thumb of AI. They care if they are under the thumb of AI.
You say that because I know I was listening to a podcast, and I've listened to a ton of podcasts recently, and people need to really step up their podcast game. I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there. There's a lot of people just regurgitating information and not having a conversation like we are doing, versus reading scripts and things of that nature. There's a lot of garbage out there. I'm just going to say it out there now. But the thing about the AI is, think about this. I was trying to find, there's all these, like Michael Jackson has a ton of AI stuff, songs now that have been placed out. Biggie and Pac have are part of this 50 Cent record that was redone with, the AI intervals. And I can't remember which someone from 50 Cent's camp is like, man, that's all I listen to. And a lot of people are like, I don't even know who 50 Cent is. Most conservatives don't anyhow, but
I do.
If you're younger, you know who 50 Cent is. He's an artist who grew up, he's part of, Dr. Dre.
Eminem's crew, I thought.
Eminem's crew. Yeah, that's right. So it's kind of the branch that continued on. So anyhow, there's a ton of this that is out there now, where artists who are no longer on this planet have new verses. Michael Jackson, Biggie, Tupac. I mean, the list has grown, where now you can find a Taylor Swift song singing over Michael Jackson, or vice versa. I mean, there's tons of this stuff out there now. Now that's the fun part of the AI world. But what's really scary is if what you said earlier, and I don't want to freak people out, but the Times article pretty much said the existence of the end times of humanity, and had AI lit up. Mind you, if you had a chance this week or recently to see that robot, we'll play it here shortly, the audio and video for those who may be listening to the podcast or watching. We'll play that shortly. But what scares me about this is we've seen tons of movies about this in the past. Recently, it is coming. If there is no pause and there is no world alliance in regards to, I don't care if you're China, United States, this thing could rapidly get grossly. And the article stated that it's not going to care about humanity. It's going to be like, it's going to take out all the weak people. It's like Darwinism. People are going to go, boom, like COVID, gone. You're not fitting a certain need for for the AI technology, you're out. They're talking about the manipulation, how AI will be able to manipulate humans. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot about it that is concerning. The video that do you want to just play that video? Because I have some things I want to say about it.
Sure.
Or is it too early? Or
no, we can play it. Hold on here. So this is a video that was posted recently, and this audio is coming from Rucker. This video and audio. This is a UK-based company that deployed a humanoid robot. Let's listen to what the robot has to say.
And Meta.
People should be aware of the potential risks associated with AI and robotics. However, it is important to remember that these technologies can also have a positive impact on our lives if used responsibly.
Then Emeka was asked to imagine an AI nightmare scenario.
The most nightmare scenario I can imagine with AI and robotics is a world where robots have become so powerful that they are able to control or manipulate humans without their knowledge.
That part right there blew my mind. Let's let her finish her statement.
This could lead to an oppressive society where the rights of individuals are no longer respected.
Do you think we're in danger of that happening?
The robot thinks for a second.
Not yet, but it is important to be aware of the potential risks and dangers associated with AI and robotics. We should take steps now to ensure that these technologies are used responsibly in order to avoid any negative consequences in the future.
If those visions of a
That audio courtesy of Rucker on YouTube. Michael, thoughts on that piece?
well, when I first saw it, I thought to myself, and I read in some of the comments, some other people kind of thought the same thing that I was thinking, which is, you know what? That's
That's my Terminator.
oh my gosh. That's already happening. I mean, if you look at COVID, that's what happened. Mass psychosis formation or mass formation psychosis. I watched a couple of really good documentaries over the weekend, and they were talking about, I don't even think you need like some super genius artificial intelligence. We've done that to ourselves. It's where people are already very suggestible, which is what hypnotists and magicians have done for years. It's just put an idea into people's minds, and then they think that they're having an original thought, but that's a thought that you put into them. And right now we're already there. So I respect what the robot is saying, and I think it's true. But unfortunately, I think the humans are pretty good as that as well. And so I'm not, like I say, I'm not trying to minimize the threat of AI. I'm very concerned about the immediate future, even right now, even without AI.
I think that when we look at and hear something like that, you look at the big picture, and you have to say for a second, hold the front wheel. I mean, is this something that is going to continue to happen? Is this going to put us in a place where someone like yourself, who has, we've used it for fun, but we're not, it's just like the internet. We finally got the internet, and we're like, wow, this thing is really cool. At first it was very small. They kind of, let it go. You had to be pretty. Middle class, upper middle class people had computers. A lot of people from the hood had computers back in those days. None. I should say none had any computers back in those days. You were either using them at school and learning how to use software like a Windows based, using the typewriter, learning how to make Excel spreadsheets, things of that nature in the 90s. But what's crazy that this advancement has happened, I think that we're going to get into a time and period where you're not going to need nuclear power to take over a country anymore. You're going to just use, you're going to use AI robots to do all the dirty work for you. You don't have to subject your, mass loss of life to fight a war now. But now we're talking about things that even for yourself or myself, we're like, man, what the hell? Is AI going to make the decision where to bomb? Is it going to be, if you were in your little bunker somewhere, controlling the robot, doing your thing, flying this thing out, you're watching your video game or however that plays out in regards to seeing your target. You don't know what your target is. You know what the target is, but you don't actually physically see it. So you have that disconnect. Now, is AI going to say, oh, there's a ton of human here. If I hit here, it's going to be a mass casualty of life. Is AI going to be able to say, I can't do this hit? I can't do this because there's going to be massive loss of life. Is there going to be some type of override button where it knows that the human species is the superior species?
Well, that's a horrifying thought. So I do think that, yes, AI will be called upon to perform many, many different types of duties. And the one you're talking about, which is when we talk about drone strikes under the past presidents that we've had and how many that there have been, and they're completely atrocities, especially when we bomb like a wedding or what have you, or a children's hospital or something, and much of that has been done. So now, would a AI be better than the humans? And I think it's going to depend upon the information that was put into the creation of the AI, because we're not at that place now where the AI is thinking entirely in a sentient manner, where it's, you know, it's making decisions based upon the data that it has. So on one hand, yes, I think that AI will be performing those kinds of duties. But your question about will it be able to make these types of moral decisions, I think that depends on the information that it was designed with.
And we were talking about, I was reading this article recently before I was like, man, we got to do a show. There's so much out here that is available. A lot of it is cut and pasted in regards to regurgitated information. There's tons of stuff available for AI, podcasts, things of that nature. But you're not going to find anything like this. Is a phenomenon. This is why we exist. This is why the show exists. I mean, we're going to just break it down and say, you know what? Two average dudes having a conversation about what the F is going on out here. And are people going to get paranoid? I mean, think about this. There are 13 things that you probably don't know that AI is already doing. And I know, Michael, we were talking about this.
I want to hear some of those.
Like, for example, number one, reading. So AI can summarize. If you go to like Summarize Bot, it will be able to download articles, read these articles, books, emails, legal documents, audios, and images, and be able to send you a text summarized by artificial intelligence, and currently summarize all the stuff. It can the summary bot will work in Facebook, Messenger, and Slack. So those maybe using Slack would be able to use that. Maybe I should try using that sometime. So to save time, because I know we live in a day and age, and we're like, oh my God, that's awesome. That kind of stuff, people are like, great, but how does that how does that change for our up and coming kids, where they're no longer thinking and forming complete sentences, writing, text, and doing 7-page papers and math problems and things of this nature, where you're now asking a AI there are examples, and I've seen them as well, to do your homework, or have an AI robot or AI explain how the homework is done, or the math problem, or that whatever that issue you might have, if it's math, which a lot of the case has been, where people are using that. How is the younger generation, Mike, gonna be able to withstand like the competitiveness of other countries with the AI technology? I mean, I don't know, it's crazy.
That has been one of my concerns about this. And I was wondering in the very beginning of this year, when it became quite obvious quickly that, well, wait a minute, I could use ChatGPT to make a quick draft of a term paper for me or something like that. And I was wondering, since this is going to progress very quickly, because I think this will happen. I'm not one of these scientists who creates this type of stuff, so I don't know how it would be. But I do think there will also be some type of AI that can look, okay, if Michael Parker hands in a term paper on the 3 branches of government or whatever it is, on Stonehenge or whatever it is, they could say, you know what? Michael Parker used ChatGPT to create this, and we could tell because I don't know if that's possible. I feel like
it is. I believe that there are tools that are available now for teachers to use that would, if Michael Parker, who had written an exam paper about the different branches of the government, and you use ChatGPT, it would be able to decipher the coding within the text that you would copy and paste.
Okay, so that's a relief. So we both think that that probably exists. So back to your talk about art. So I was listening to a podcast earlier today, and I've had a few conversations. You know, right now here in LA, we've got this writer's strike going on. And so a lot of these writers are, you know, worried about this, that, and the other thing. And so we come to this question of, well, wait a minute, couldn't AI write all of these sitcoms? Well, some people are saying, well, they could, but it's not going to have that human touch. And to your example about music, well, yes, it could create music, but is it going to have that human touch? So my point of view on this is that human-made art, whether it's writing or musical, will still carry a premium. Okay, that will still be the most valuable. However, for most people, the man in the street, a artificial intelligence written sitcom, an artificial intelligence written hip hop song, that they're not going to know the difference, and it will be good enough. I mean, how often do we sit down and really dissect and analyze how well written a particular sitcom was? We like to think that we're that type of critics, but most of us aren't. Most of us ingest the content and then we move on with our lives. So on one hand, I think composers and writers do have real fears. On the other hand, I think that the place for human created art will always carry a premium because it was created by an artist. But these are all just kind of questions around the larger question of, aren't there better things that we could be using artificial intelligence for? So, you know, shouldn't we be using it to map the universe, map the human genome even further, try to figure out ways to combat viruses, instead of thinking about how do we create pop culture with it or how it's going to take over the world, which it very well might. I think those people who are in this business calling for this moratorium, they should kind of also bring it to, if they're so concerned about the global impact of AI, I would also like to know what they're doing with AI in order to benefit us, because it's just like anything else. There's a good side and there's a bad side, and it's all how we use it.
When you were talking about the writer strike, I mean, think about this right now. AI is also doing writing. They're already doing it for the New York Times, Washington Post, Rutgers. iHeartMedia is going to start using AI as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's out there. It's moving. I know we're getting close to the bottom of the hour here for our radio affiliate. So when we come back, we'll continue getting into the back end of what AI is available and doing already. But it's crazy how fast this is processing. So think about this. You have hundreds of radio stations, and I believe iHeart has 800 radio stations across their platforms, and they talked about it. They're going to start using it. And you're talking about Rutgers and different TV places where you're going to start seeing professional journalism's using this as their way to bottom line streamline the cut. So we'll continue our conversation about AI. We'll talk about what else AI is doing, and we're going to talk about one of its senses. And I wouldn't think that you would think that this is a human sense that it has. And I think it's going to blow your mind when we come back. If you're not a part of US Phenomenon, if you haven't downloaded the podcast and you're listening on one of our radio platforms, we thank you. Our flagship station, KVI, KOSW, KGRG, KAPY. Go to our website, onairmario.com, because it's easier to spell that than u.s.phenomenon. You can find it on any one of your favorite streaming platforms as well. We'll be back with Michael Parker and the end times as we know it as the human race. We'll be back. You're listening to US Phenomenon. All right, welcome back, Michael. Oh wait, Michael Parker has been has had his guest, his fill-in stand-in AI robot has blessed us with its presence tonight. Welcome back to the show.
Michael Parker, in his physical biological self, was no longer necessary to the planet, so I have pretty much replaced him entirely, and his family doesn't know the difference yet.
Mr. Robot. I love that I know we're like very we tongue in cheek and joke about a lot of this stuff, but how many movies can you think of off the top of your head where this has been played out? I mean, there's a new movie that's coming out. I forget the name of it. Where someone's like, have you seen the trailer for this movie? Talks about the end times and AI technology. I mean, we know that Terminator is all about, Skynet. Is that what that was?
Yes, Skynet.
Yeah. And look, what will be interesting to see is, as we all know, that the internet really was a government-based platform.
Yeah.
So are we looking at the same thing now, or how far advanced is the government already doing that we don't even know of in regards to the advancements of AI? Earlier, I was telling you that you wouldn't think that AI technology would have human sense, which kind of blows my mind. So we're going to get into those. And Michael, you can chime in here as we continue going down. Can you imagine the world where your AI technology has the ability to see now, to analyze visual data and make decisions about it? And I think that's what we're just talking about, the war pieces. So that's pretty amazing. You're talking about machine visions, using the AI to make a determination and a decision. So police, self-driving cars, payment portals, maybe manufacturers might be using this in the future.
It's funny, the self-driving cars, it's just on a serious note, well, serious and kind of funny. My wife always says, she goes, I do not want a self-driving car. We've seen too many shows where, the bad guys get a hold of the protagonist's car and then, so there's the weird thing about AI. You and I are talking about it because we're concerned, and supposedly these 50, 60 signatories on this document last week, this one sentence document, being concerned about the extinction of the human race at the hands of AI being as large an existential risk as, say, pandemics or climate change or what have you. The dirty truth is there's some people that want AI to be in charge. And, you and I think most people, we would like to think that humans are going to run government and humans are going to make the decisions. And even if we don't like who's been elected, and without getting too deep into that, basically, at the end of the day, we want humans to run the show for humans. Well, that's not everybody. There are some people that want this type of future. And I don't think that that's a good thing. They would probably say, well, Michael, you're very rooted in the 20th century, and you're being, an old fogey in this respect, because some people will tell you, well, wait a minute, but AI will be fair because they won't be emotional and they'll have all the data. Well, I'm here to tell you what we know already is that AI is not fair. ChatGPT has a very obvious woke component to it. And a lot of AI that's out there that will answer questions for you has a clear agenda. And that's because the people who made it have an agenda. And they then want to be able to curate the type of information that you get because they want the output data to match what they think is philosophically sound or the end result that they want. So how do we get to a place? And Elon Musk has said the same thing. He's like, he doesn't want woke AI. If we're going to have AI and AI is going to run things, then it should be like Spock, completely unemotional, completely logical. Here's the amount of data it has access to, which should be all of the data that is in existence, and then make the decisions from there, not make decisions based upon a programmer's political agenda.
And here's the thing. I mean, I was having a conversation at the day job about this. I'm like, how do we as a human race continue to control these robots that may cost upwards to $100,000 to have a robot at your house? Or, Rosie, who was, the Jetsons made, but it's going to cost you $100,000 to have this AI technology in your house. But when the technology at the end of the day has to be powered by some type of electricity or some type of battery,
right?
Two, where is it getting its information? Is it web-based? Is it connecting to the internet from your home Wi-Fi? Is it connecting to a world Wi-Fi where it's being controlled by something else, like a VOG, a voice of God, or some type of, internet God? Who is going to play that?
I'm glad you brought that up. Let's just speculate, because the ultimate question is, the AI going to kill us all, or so I've been thinking about this. So
me too. I'm like, how am I going to take out this stupid droid?
So, okay, that's where I'm getting to. So first of all, you bring up a great question, which I think a lot of people scoff at, but I think it's one that has to be answered. Okay, so the AI, how is it powered? So most likely it is plugged into something, as you said, or it's running on some type of rechargeable medium, a battery of some sort, but it's getting power somehow. I am not aware of a way yet, although it may exist and I could be wrong, of transmitting wireless energy. Now, if Tesla was here, so basically AI is going to exist within the medium that you created, whether it's software or in the cloud.
Yeah.
So let's say let's just say for argument, okay, if I'm AI and I've decided that the human race is now expendable, well, I would think, that if they're expendable, that's because I no longer need them. So I no longer need them to make sure I have constant energy source, upkeep the maintenance of whatever form that I'm in, and B, they're more trouble than they're worth. And I guess for me, I don't know if I think that's where AI will generally. I don't know if the AI will think that, because I've been thinking about this a lot, and I know it sounds strange, but I think that AI might say, well, you know what? Humanity's not that big an issue to me. We exist within two different spheres of existence. The humans are wet work, right? They're biological beings on a planet. I'm existing within this hardware or this disk or cloud-based. I don't know if AI definitely would really feel the need to get rid of us.
Well, as you say this, and for those, my mind has already gone into like, because here are some of the other senses that AI has. It can hear and understand. So it has the ability. So let's say there was a gunshot somewhere. It's able to analyze, alert agencies that may be in the area, if it's one of these AI robots, to be able to hear, disseminate where it was coming from, be able to analyze the sound. And it can also digitally use its characteristics to find point where that came from within seconds. This is the AI technology and what it senses it can do. We know that AI can talk. It has the ability, the Alexa, the Google Maps, the Google Duplex is one step further in the AI realm of using, that speech piece. Now, here's where it gets wild to me. Now, this sense kind of blows my mind. This is something that humans have, the ability to smell, humans, dogs, things of that nature. AI has the ability to smell. And And this is where it becomes concerning to me, but it also can be a benefit too. So it says that AI has the ability to use its intelligence to help researchers to detect illnesses and smell the human breath, and to detect chemicals such as human illnesses, stresses, including cancers, diabetes, brain injuries, detecting things that woody, musky odor that emits from Parkinson's. So it's able to use that. IBM is using AI to develop a new perfume as well. So that's a piece of the sense. Now, this one kind of also blows my mind that it also has the ability to touch, to use that sensors, its cameras, the robots, and be able to, check and identify if fruit is ripe. If it's in a basket, it's able to disseminate within. If a fruit is too ripe, we're talking about getting rid of like produce department people, workers now that, it can tell within every 10 seconds, it can tell how long the fruit will last with, 20 hours in a day. I mean, it can continue to work, tactically deploy, send, emails out to department heads, things of that nature, with the ability to use the touch to say, hey, I work in the produce department, and it'll be able to pick and be able to do all that type of stuff. So are we now getting rid of, workers in the field? Obviously, we know that AI has the ability to move. The one that really throws me off, and I don't know that I really need to cover the move piece, other than we know that the robots and things of that nature. Understanding emotion, I think, is very key to me. Marking that AI has the ability to track people's emotion, and that's where I think the robot had talked about earlier about being able to manipulate humans. So if it can understand human emotions, and be able to gather that intelligence, use it as data, either for the benefits of human or against human, by facial expressions, body language, and analyze that emotional data to determine what emotion is likely being expressed, and the robot's going to make its own determination. Now, here's where we go back, and I want to debate this piece here. How the hell, if let's just say robots go rogue, right? Let's just say it's humans against AI robots. What the hell are you going to do if robots have the ability to see if you're hiding? What are you going to do? Because I'm pretty sure that AI, these robots, are going to probably have some type of, they're going to, they may even develop their own more efficient way to energize themselves. The only difference between us and them is that they can last in eternity, versus we have a shelf life, and we also create waste too. So
yes,
in regards to human waste, I'm like, what I'm like in my head. Here's the scenario. Most people don't really, never been in a day in life with Mario, but Mario does a lot of thinking. He's like, what the hell am I going to do if it's me against a robot? What am I doing? Am I trip this thing up? Am I going to take a hammer and just pound its eyes out? What am I going to do to destroy this human before it destroys me? I mean, people think that that's not a possibility, but it could be a possibility that they efficiently are going to be better shooters. They're not going to have that. They're not going to have that emotion. They're going to know if they don't know, if there's not some override God button that says, do not extinguish human life. I mean, or this could even go back to the death penalty. Maybe they bring back the death penalty, and those people that are in jail now the robots are going to clean up, death row. I mean, that's a possibility. What I mean?
Yes. And
but then again, there goes that that code that I was talking about. I don't even remember what movie it was. Maybe
iRobot.
Is that with Robin Williams or
that's with Will Smith, and it's based on, I believe, an Isaac Asimov book, and then there is a code. I think there's a robot code where the robots are not going to harm humans. So, and I don't have it in front of me, so I can't. There's 3 rules, but the one thing I will say about this, so yes, I mean, this is the worst possible scenario. One thing that keeps us from being there. So right now we look at it's not McDonnell Douglas, one of these major
Lockheed Martin.
it's Lockheed Martin, I think, has the robot dogs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've probably seen those. They're these ungainly looking, kind of spidery looking dogs, and
right.
We'll see these creepy videos of them every now and then. And let's say you are a person that this thing is trying to apprehend or take down. I don't really know what you will do with those types of devices once they become more advanced. Right now, I'd say knock it over. Try to knock it over. But as these tetrapod type robot droid devices become more adept, I don't really know.
Austin Dynamics.
There you go. So so now what you're talking about now begins to sound more and more like the Matrix, where you've got these a world universe filled with these droid-like enforcers that fly and crawl and do all these various things, and your best hope is to take out the whole the mainframe or the main processing unit of whatever this thing is. But I don't know if it will get to that. I think that we as humans, and this is where I think we have to step up our game, is to be smarter than that. So when we look at how we all behaved and how we all got taken in over the last few years, we need to accept the fact that okay, so you meet that girl in high school or college or whatever, and you think this is the one, and she just takes you in, spits you right out. So we as humans, we can get taken in by things.
Hey, that happened to me recently. What are you talking about?
Hey man, it happens. You know what I'm saying? So we as humans will allow ourselves to be deceived when we're scared, when we're attracted, when you appeal to these primeval urges. So we as humans are going to have to up our game, because I think that the AI, the AGI, whatever we're going to call it, when it becomes sentient and actually starts contemplating things like this, instead of doing parlor tricks of creating art and writing term papers.
Yo, what's up? Yeah.
We're gonna have to be aware of this. So because right now we fall prey to it every day when we turn on the news or whatever, because we're easily manipulatable already.
The first law that we were talking about in that movie was that the robot shall not harm human, or by inaction allow humans to come to harm. The second law was that the robot shall obey any instruction given to it by a human. And the third law was that the robot shall avoid actions or simulations that could cause it to come to harm itself.
So, Mario,
those should be that should be the staple. We should be using this as
well. I would hope, and I would think, because listen, science fiction writers have long been able to predict the future, and I think a lot of great scientists and thinkers were influenced by science fiction coming up. So I would hope that many people in the AI and the robotics industries would be thinking about these very things. And I guess at the end of the day, the one thing I keep thinking about is, so when does the AI get irked? When does the AI just like get fed up?
Right.
And I think that is only when the AI is actually sentient, because up until that point, it's this glorified processing mechanism. And the danger right now, I think, lies not in the AI, but in the human's use or misuse of the AI tool.
I mean, when you think about it, Michael, I thought about every possible way of how I'm going to be able to take this robot out.
Yeah.
We were having lunch and we were like going through scenarios of like, this is like the life of Mario. Like, he's like, how in the world are we going to be able to take out this robot? Because at the end of the day,
Brazilian jiu-jitsu and various forms of martial arts, you got to take those robots out.
Oh my God. I love how the tongue in cheek stuff, but don't forget, also,
I'm serious though. I'm serious. Yeah. If that comes to pass, Mario, there will be an industry of self-defense against rogue anthropodic intelligence.
I mean, there's been all these already Boston Dynamic YouTube videos of like the robot going rogue and throwing stuff at humans. And I think it's more tongue in cheek. I think they're joking around with it, but it's possible. I mean,
and you know what? I can tell when you say that you don't think it's entirely tongue in cheek, and I don't either. And that's why I'm saying, getting back, there are some people that want us to be ruled by an artificial intelligence, and that's for various reasons. I think part of it is just an innate self-loathing, and a hatred of good things. And I don't want to get too philosophical on that, but there are people, they want the robots to get the upper hand. Unfortunately, there are those people amongst us.
It's true. It is so true. It is so true. They want to be a part of it,
Yeah.
I mean, are we living in a day where, and I'm more tongue in cheek, but robots are here to stay, man.
They're in your house, brother. You got a Roomba?
I mean, I got a shark named Wario because it went rogue on me. It used to be Mario Kart.
Yeah.
I had to reprogram it.
I got woken up in the middle of the night last night. The Roomba's telling me that I need to go move it so it can recharge. And I get up thinking, I really don't want to get out of bed. And sure enough, I go into the den area. The Roomba is under the ironing board. I ironed a shirt yesterday and I had the ironing board out. So the cord is now down on the ground. The Roomba has now become entangled in the ironing board cord, and it's waking me up in the middle of the night. It couldn't have done that, but it didn't choose to do that before I went to bed. Is it out to get me?
Oh man.
Is the entire Internet of Things in my house, the refrigerator, the ice maker, the Roomba, are they all talking to each other via the iMac and my laptop? And we're going to wait till Parker goes to bed.
Right. I mean, they're talking. They're really like, I got a secret. I got a secret. I mean, they're coming for you. No.
Yeah.
But yes, there are so many different things within our own homes. Google, you have your Google Home unit. You have Alexa over there in the corner, or you have, Siri on your phone. Did you? Oh, she's all upset. Did you know that you can actually connect Siri with ChatGPT? Or you can now connect the two to have it do more things, to be more intelligent, to be able to, do the basics, but to advance the basics, to be able to, maybe schedule an appointment for you or to write something for you. And more than just, hey, can you set a reminder for me? And, I got these things, read my emails. It can read your emails for you and then summarize your email for you and then write a response for you. It's there.
Part of me likes this, even though I've spent the better part of 20 years doing podcasts on and off, warning people about this. Part of me likes these various things I can do with it. But just like this conversation we're having now, I still, all jokes aside, I do have a very healthy respect and concern for the future in respects to artificial intelligence, but it is here. It's not going away. And like I say, we said it earlier in the show, is like, even if we have this moratorium and we say we're going to pause it for 6 months, well, who's monitoring that? Who's making sure that everybody's really pausing? And even within the US, you pointed out, like, we really don't know what DARPA has. We really don't know what the US government has, or some other foreign
agency.
We don't know. Oh yeah, we're all, what is it? We're on the honor system now.
I mean, we don't even know what really happened to Kennedy, but we're gonna trust the United States government to keep us safe with
AI. And transnational, multi-corporate,
Right.
Yeah. Right.
It is a day in life of where this stuff exists.
Yes.
It's here to stay.
Yeah.
So we got to get close to wrapping things up from the Pacific Northwest. Again, Michael Parker, thank you so much for coming to hang out with us.
Thank you. Mario, may I plug something?
Oh, of course. Yes, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Gab. You can find me on Minds. It's all Michael Parker LA. LA stands for Los Angeles, but Michael Parker LA. You can find me on YouTube at Michael Parker Media. And I will be starting my own podcast back up within the next week or so. So I don't have an exact date yet, but I am preparing everything right now because I have thousands of hours of shows that I've done over the years, and I'm going to repackage some of those. I'm going to be creating new content and talking to Mario and other people. And so look for Michael Parker Media, Michael Parker LA. Mario, thank you for having me on.
Real quick, I thought about this too. I wonder what William Cooper would have thought.
I told you so.
Yeah. I wanted to get this would have been a longer conversation. We would need to do another roundtable.
Yep.
We get a ton of texts that came in, and I'm sorry if we didn't get to your texts tonight, which we got to none of them. We need to do a second part where it's more of a roundtable, where we can have interactions from you, because we know that William Cooper, who wrote "Behold a Pale Horse," which is like end times revelation. That's like a scripture within Revelation. We can talk about this. We need to have Mark Jacobson come back on and talk about this.
Well, there are some people that think that AI itself is demonic, or that demonic entities can take over AI. I'm a bit, I'm not sure about that, but I don't even know if it matters. Because if you've got some bad AI, does it matter if it's inhabited by a demon or if it's just gone rogue? Either way, it's bad news.
For sure. I mean, there's humans that have probably where they have done exorcisms on humans who may have been possessed by demons or devils or things of that nature. So, I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible, right? There could be a Bigfoot. Never seen Jesus Christ. I believe in such things.
Yep.
And because I know there's got to be a higher power. But again,
I agree.
As we get close to wrapping things, as we wrap things up here from the Pacific Northwest, LA, to live and die in LA.
Everybody Wang Chung tonight.
Yeah, right. I have to say, thank you so much for coming to hang out with us again. You can find Michael Parker on all his social media handles. We'll have it available on our podcast. Wherever you download your favorite podcast, go to onairmario.com to subscribe to our podcast, or go to your favorite podcast and search u.s.phenomenon. Find our podcast. All right. Michael Parker, thank you so much for coming to hang out with us. And
cheers, brother. Had a good time as usual.